Humans reach visual maturity at age 9. Emma was blinded at 8. We just don't know what you'll see.
Mr. Cachetto?
It's all right. Go back to bed.
She's dead, right?
Is there anything else you could tell me about Valerie Witt?
She was a noisy lover.
Did she have a boyfriend that you know?
I could hear him.
You got a name on him? You know his name?
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby. So your eyes are having a delayed reaction to reality.
I guess you could say that.
So what is that? Your eyes are driving the train and your brain's the caboose. It hasn't caught up yet?
I'm just beginning to think this guy is a figment of her imagination.
Yeah, I'm telling you, she's the key.
I can't see things that are right in front of me, and I can see things that couldn't be there.
You identified a copper as the murderer.
Can she see or not?
You think I imagined him? You think I made him up?
I have one or two minor things on my mind, not the least of which is finding this killer before he finds you.
So Blink, it came out in the early 90s. I want to say 1993, but if it's 92 or 94, I'm going to ask my listeners to forgive me. It's one of these Chicago cop stories where it's sort of dealing with that rough-hewn boys club type of cop atmosphere. The other thing that occurred to me watching it today in 2024 is that there's been a lot of these tactile thrillers where you have to be quiet or there's creatures, if you make any noise, they'll get you.
Yes. And there's been more than one movie where you can't, where the
Bird Box movie
where you can't see, where somebody is in the dark or where they're blind and have to fight against assailants or intruders.
But they seem to be kind of in vogue. I don't know if it was like Don't Breathe that started it when it was the home invasion of the blind man movie, but we've been seeing a lot of these sensory horror movies.
Yes.
And the one thing that I think Blink had in 93, other than the stars, was this angle of this blind woman who gets her vision back. And it's not a certain thing. She lost her vision at such a young age that she hadn't even fully developed her own sort of identity or self-understanding of how her eyes worked. So in her transition period to having vision, she's seeing all sorts of crazy nonsense.
And I might be completely off base, but I don't remember any movies earlier than this one that had that premise. And this one where she can see to a certain extent, recovering from her blindness, is a little bit different than the others as well.
We've certainly seen, a blind woman in peril.
Yeah.
But this sort of recuperation thing. Honestly, the first act of the movie, half an hour or so, when she's getting her eyes back and her adjusting to that and her terror at the idea of being able to see, could have been a straight-faced dramatic movie and probably a pretty decent one.
Absolutely. And I think that whole core of regaining a sense that has been so lost to you and is so unfamiliar and in this story so untrustworthy in your recovery that you literally cannot believe your eyes.
You can't believe yourself, but you want to convince the police of this essential information.
You feel what you feel, and you experience what you experience, and all of your other senses, having been heightened with the loss of sight, you can smell, you can hear, you can feel physically.
Yeah. And that's what you're used to. That's your world.
So you rely on that, but your eyes are playing tricks on you.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to see.
And I think that part of the movie is what works. And it almost works enough for me to give it a sort of begrudging, respectful thumbs up. Yeah. But the rest of the movie, the thriller component of the movie, I remembered being a lot stronger than it was in 1993 than it was today. I didn't hate watching it, but it was not this sort of epic, memorable thriller that people missed that I kind of thought it was in my head,
Well, movies have changed a lot in the last 30 years, and we have seen some things that blew our minds in certain thrillers.
Yeah.
That we were just like, whoa, okay. did not see that coming. This did not have that kind of feel to it. It was much less a thriller and more of a. It would have played better, I think, as more of that trauma recovery.
Yeah.
A drama.
There was enough story of her trauma with her mom and her trying to make sense of this new world. The actual murder mystery thriller, which is what they were presenting.
It almost got lost.
And it, in the end, wasn't really a mystery. Like, she knew who the guy was from the very beginning.
But did she?
We didn't know. Like, we were sort of asked to doubt her.
We got no confirmation of that, though.
Yeah. I feel like, I think we talked about this when the movie first ended, if we knew conclusively that, yes, the Madeleine Stowe character did properly see that killer at that night, and she doubts herself and the cops doubt her, but we knew for certain. The fact that everybody was in doubt, her, the cops, and us, muddied that a lot.
It was not a satisfactory resolution because that definition of that confirmation didn't happen.
Yeah. And the movie gets distracted by the romance and the characters, and I do think that like the acting is solid and the presentation of it is solid, and in a way, because it's so much better at the character drama and the romance, the thriller elements start to get lost in the mid part of the movie, and it just does become that character driven drama that it could and maybe should in the end of the day have been.
Yeah, they should have picked one or the other and gone with that.
Yeah. But basic premise, that Madeleine Stowe just got her new eyes, just a couple weeks in, still adjusting to it. She hears some terrible going upstairs for her upstairs neighbor. She looks out to see who it is, and she sees this stranger who claims to be the building, like, custodian, but clearly isn't. But it's not until the next morning, as she's sobering up, where she really locks into her reality, what this guy was.
And it's a delayed reaction that is typical of recovery for this kind of surgery.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
Yeah, but all of these things would lead to A, her being a terrible witness.
Yes.
And B, because she reports the crime before they discover the crime, they immediately dismiss her as a lunatic. And the Chicago police, as so often is the case when they focus in on Chicago, are not portrayed particularly positively at all. In fact, it's an uphill battle to get to like our romantic lead. I think we eventually do.
Well, he calls himself and his team dicks.
Yeah.
They own it.
Yeah. And he kind of gets bullied into stupid things by the other stupid guys in the club, but he does have an actual brain and he does have an actual heart. It's just actually actively being suppressed by his environment and the people and himself.
And it's a trope that was typical in the time. And there were a few of them in the movie. The resolution didn't happen, and that's a black mark for me, where there wasn't, like I said, the confirmation that we knew who the suspect was and that it was that guy. We didn't get that confirmation.
It needed to be a meaningful reveal because it was that guy. The guy that she saw was the guy. But we don't know who that guy was.
We only believe that.
Yeah. We kept on seeing this face of the guy that she saw, and I
shifted.
kept on waiting because of how uncertain it was for it to morph into a character that we'd met before, that we knew, that would be this aha moment. And even though I'd seen the movie before, I guess I'd forgotten how that the ending played out, and I was kept on waiting for the partner, James Remar, to reveal something, or for there to be a plot point about one of the characters in her band, which starts to make us, like, give us clues. But there are other suspects. There's the doctor who helps her get her vision back, who clearly has this crush on her. But it doesn't make sense that he would be the killer. So when the movie tries to make us think that, it's like a little counterfeit.
Yes. A little forced, for sure. There are enough questions that, like I said, it has the qualities that it could have been a thriller, but it feels like it was like a romantic thriller, which has been done successfully.
Sure.
but they really needed to choose one way or the other. I think, in my opinion, in my experience, it was not satisfying.
They were trying to give us so much that they ended up sort of
giving us
the bare minimum. Somehow, like, because it had to be this emotional drama and this romance and this thriller, all of them got diluted.
Yes. And so it was only lukewarm on all of those aspects.
But again, I will say, for all of the negative things we're saying, it is a well-made movie. It is a well-acted movie.
Oh, for
and
sure.
for a movie made in 1993, it's not garishly 90s. It's not one of those things where you're like, oh my God, with all of the references and the fashion and anything like that. Like, it's still a very watchable movie today, and it doesn't, other than not everybody being distracted by their cell phones or whatever, it holds, quote, credible within its world.
Well, I had never seen it before tonight.
Right.
And I don't regret seeing it.
Right.
It was very interesting. And, thought-provoking. And that is the other aspect of a thriller that I enjoy, is if it makes you think, if it makes you wonder, if it makes you...
If it stays with you.
Imagine what it would be like to go through that challenge of, again, regaining your sight, which you expect to be such a blessing, and it almost immediately goes wrong.
Yeah. It's good, solid effort. I'm not enthusiastic. It's like I wouldn't say don't watch it, but I don't know who I would recommend it to.
Yes.
Like, it's strange. It's
Of all the thrillers, it's not going to be in my top 5. You got to watch this.
Yeah.
But
especially in this day and age, because we have so many thrillers like this that are really pushing it visually, and like, this is another sensory thriller.
But I would rather watch this than a blind guy in his house shooting bad guy intruders.
Right.
That really doesn't have as much depth.
There's nothing beyond the violence at that point.
Yeah.
And I respect that this tried to have more than how successful it was at it. The other thing I wanted to bring up, because we talked about it during the movie, it almost happened twice in the movie, and we both were like, oh, don't do it, don't you fucking do it. This thing where these characters start off and they don't like each other, and then they clearly like each other, but they're still fighting, and then they get into this argument that gets a little bit physical, and then all of a sudden,
it's hot.
They're
it's
all
hot.
over each other, and it goes from a fight to a fuck, and I really, really, really want this thing to be retired. Even in 93, it was old, and you still see it all of the time. They didn't do that, actually, at the end of the day.
They never did that in this movie.
They
Came
came
very close. But we both cringed in those moments where they got really close to that. I'm grateful that they didn't do it, and I'm also really grateful that you don't appreciate that.
There's a lot of eroticism to the movie, and that's very apropos of the early 90s as well, but it's clearly like a more explicit sex scene than we need necessarily, but it didn't feel like this nasty raw dogging stop the movie for gross sex scene. It was like, these two people love each other, and here's a including a saxophone love scene between the two of them.
We're almost at that point, but despite the dick that I've been acting like, I'm gonna walk away and be a gentleman.
Yeah, I do like.
And despite her thinking she could probably push him into it, she doesn't either.
I like that they took turns being the asshole too. At the beginning, he was very much the asshole, but once she kind of gets a grip on him and he starts misbehaving, she gets acting pretty irrational too. She has this flip out at the concert where she thinks she sees the killer, but the way she's looking at the crowd, like, she's looking for the killer. Yeah. She's like expecting him to be at the concert, and it's coming from her.
She wants to see, but she doesn't want to see.
Yeah, and that's interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah,
and she's in this circumstance, which is super uncomfortable, and she's got this budding romance with this cop who is pretty much a dick most of the time that she's known him, and she's only starting to uncover his softer side, and all of a sudden he is all back to business in pretty short order after she confesses her affection for him.
Yeah.
So
This is also, there's another murder. They've kind of forgotten about the first murder and fallen in love, and then other people start dying while they're in La La Land.
right, and she's still all wrapped up instead of in the thriller, she's in the relationship, and so she reacts like the jilted girlfriend, which detracted from the thriller part of it, because it wasn't.
She's vulnerable and sensitive, and it wasn't rational, and she was lashing out, and she probably would admonish herself the next day. It was a little bit soap opera. It was a little bit
and
high
it was
school.
Distracting.
Yeah, it didn't need that.
No,
But I think the actors make it work.
they do.
I think that the script was a little shaky, and the actors push it over the line. But
It was still a good watch, and I don't regret it.
thank you for reviewing Blink with me on Rank and Review, Tracy.
You're awesome.
You're awesome. Is there anything else you want to say about Blink, or can we wrap that one up?
We're wrapped.
Blink, it's okay.
It's okay.